Game 4 of the NBA Finals. So, with that being said, the Miami Heat pull away last night and get another win in the series. Now 3 wins in a row. They're officially up 3-1 and only 1 win away from the NBA championship.
Boo.
For Dwayne Wade and LeBron James and Chris Bosh and Mario Chalmers, who was the man in the second half. I almost pulled a Pixel Junkie, though, last night and shut off the game.
Why'd you almost shut off the game? What happened, Dave?
It was a tad bit ridiculous. I hate, riding the ref so much. I actually really do. I can't stand it. I don't find enjoyment from this. It doesn't make me happy to constantly spend time talking about referees when you want to talk about great basketball and great sports. But instead, I'm stuck sitting here wondering what is going on, how things can be called so unevenly. Russell Westbrook shot 19 shots in the painted area yesterday and only went to the free throw line 3 times.
That's terrible.
3 times. 19 times my man drove the hole. I watched him go flying to the ground at least 4 times with no calls at all. I watched LeBron James and Dwayne Wade.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Especially James get these calls where he's not even getting touched, but he's acting. Or Dwayne Wade not even getting touched, but doing the, oh, come on, man.
Dude, Miami, I've never seen a team like them where they complain about every single call, whether it goes or against them.
I watched
they
LeBron James
every single time.
Slap Durant in the face and then complain to the ref that he got the foul called on. Like, you hit Durant in the dome, dude. In the dome. And you don't think you should get a foul call on you. Dwayne Wade, every time he gets close to the rim and jumps up into the air, excuse me, every time he jumps into the air, he flips out while he's in the air like he got hurt or hit. Like, you got to be kidding me, dude. Just because you let go of the ball and you know it's not going to go in, don't try to blame it on the other player. Pixel, I'm with you. The flopping, there's so much that is taking away from how great the play on the court has been. It's so sad. Russell Westbrook dropped 43 points last night.
20 of 32 from the field.
He played amazing basketball. Yet, all you can think of is how he drove the hole 19 times and only went to the free throw line 3 times.
I don't get
his first set of
that.
free throws came with like 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Kevin Durant can't get to the freaking free throw. It's unbelievable how one-sided the ticky-tack calls are.
Yeah, and it's really frustrating as I'm just an average NBA fan. And me personally, it is very frustrating seeing all that. It kind of kills the momentum of the game. Do you think this is because, OKC is pretty much going through the learning curve? They're getting these bumps and, they're not really getting the calls from the refs because Miami has, let's face it, they have the superstars in the prime of their career right now. Do you think that's pretty much what it is? Because OKC is just too young? That why maybe they're not getting the calls?
No, they're not getting the calls because for some reason to be honest with you, in my opinion, they're not getting the calls because they're not accentuating the contact. They're playing. They are playing. Like think about it. If the past
they're not quote unquote
games,
flopping.
Yeah, the past couple games, and Pixel Junkie, you'll ask with me on this one, and Pixel, I like that. It's a cookie cutter finals. Pixel, you'll agree with me on this. If the Miami Heat played the way they're playing in the finals on a street basketball court in any ghetto or good Rucker Park, any good street basketball court in this country, if they played the way they were playing, the court, the quote unquote guys that run the court wouldn't let them on the court anymore.
No, not at all.
They'd be like, we're not playing with you guys. You call everything
every
that's
single
nothing.
foul.
It's street ball, okay? Like you do not, unless you're thrown to the ground or you're bleeding, it's not a foul. Like the way they act, this Miami team would legitimately get kicked off of a street ball court. They'd be like, you can't play with us.
Yeah, but that's why this is an NBA game and not a street ball court. You're right. In a street ball game, you're right. Everybody would say, get off the court, stop being a baby, no harm, no foul. In the NBA, there's fouls.
Oh, no,
and
bro.
especially if you can get away with getting the ticky-tack fouls, if you're Miami, you're going to take full advantage of that.
I'm using that comparison in an idea of, I want you to think about it like this, in the acting part of it. You know, you've played basketball with people in a street ball situation. You've seen people play it. If you get slapped on the wrist, you're not throwing your arm backwards like somebody just came down on your wrist with a jackhammer. You know, if you get chest bumped a little bit fighting for a rebound, you're not flying 10 feet away from the ball.
Yeah.
You know, if you go up for a layup and somebody bumps you while you're in the air, you're not all of a sudden throwing your body to the ground. Like, that's my comparison. I know what you're saying. Street ball, when you play street ball, you're not calling half the things that technically would get called, but you're also not embellishing pointless contact that really had no effect on the outcome of the play. That's my thing, and I have a huge issue with how Miami just acts. It's unbelievable to me. But they, at the same time, you know, you asked me about the experience factor for Oklahoma City. Mm-hmm. Well, if they're experiencing anything, that's what they're experiencing. They're learning how to play the refs. That to me is the only bit of experience you're going to pull out of this. I mean, there was some mistakes they made down the stretch of last night's game that you can learn from, but they're more just mental lapses that you got to be a little more prepared for before the moment comes. AKA the tip ball when it was only a 3-point game or a 4-point game with 17 seconds left. You have Battier making an amazing play to out-jump Durant for the ball, which I will never understand how that happened. Pixel, I've seen it the whole time. It's just my love for the NBA makes me not want to stop watching it.
I think it's funny that, like, the NBA is, like, the only sport where we really think there's a lot of controversy that goes on behind everything. With the draft, I feel like it's fixed. The way that the refs are calling the finals, I feel like the finals are fixed. I know it's legitimately, it's not fixed. I get that. But me, just watching everything, seeing these horrible calls, and especially the difference in free throws between the two teams in a finals, it makes me really just wonder about things, dude. It really does. It's Stern saying, hey, you got refs, you need to call things a certain way. You didn't call this like this, so this game you got to do it differently. I just wonder about things because we don't say this about the NFL. We don't say this about Major League Baseball. We always come back to NBA saying, hey, there's an issue. Something's going on.
This is true. I can't argue with you on that one, but I think it's because there's so much that happens in a game, and it's just, and with all the replays and the ways to look at it and all that kind of stuff, it's so easy
and we
to
also
go back on it and watch it and just be like, well, how do you not call that? Well, how do you let that happen? Or how's this, like...
And what also doesn't help the NBA is they call the game differently throughout the game. It seems as though, you know, it's toward the end of the game, they kind of let things get away. You know, you're not calling the same thing in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes to go as you were in the first quarter with 8 minutes left in the first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're completely correct. And I mean, the NBA's actually been like that for a long time. A lot of that has to do with the fact that as the games wear on, they want to either control it or let it flow better. Mm-hmm. So it's, you know, the ref's job is to try and call the game fairly and control the aggression the teams go at each other with. That's their job as referees, and they're not doing a good job of calling it fairly. That's the part that bothers me so much. You know, I went on a rant about this last night while watching the game, and you know, I think I've said it before on the show too. I look at it as to me, I want them to do away with the charging foul, the blocking foul, just get rid of it. completely just get rid of it.
Yeah, you were saying that the other day, how you want to get rid of it because nowadays you don't know who's taking the flop and the refs call it either way, correct? Like sometimes you were saying, I think game 3 was it, where Oklahoma City was going for blocking. You know, they were trying to take the charge, and you know, all of a sudden it was called a blocking foul. You know, you're right. Maybe they do need to take a second look into that because it seems as though it's a pointless thing, right?
It takes away from the quality of the game. For example, last night, Kevin Durant driving the hole has an opportunity. If he wants to go aggressive, pretty much he's going to jump over Battier and dunk the ball right on him. And as NBA fans, the average NBA fan, the non-average, the hardcore NBA fan, and everywhere in the middle will tell you that they would have loved to have seen that. But since Durant's scared of drawing a foul on himself and getting a charging foul, he jumps to the side of Battier just to lay in the layup instead. Right there is the perfect example. Now, no foul was called. None. But as an NBA fan, instead of getting to watch an amazing athlete do something amazing, you're stuck watching him still do something technically amazing because the average person just can't do it. Mm-hmm. But you're watching him go sideways and shoot a layup instead of watching him do an insanely impressive dunk. And getting people into it and getting people excited. Sitting at home, jumping off your couch because you just watched him dunk. Put his cojones right on Shane Battier's forehead. You know, like that. As an NBA fan, I want to see. I don't want to see a freaking charge. I don't even want to see a freaking blocking foul. Do away with it. Lose it. Get rid of it. Because if you get rid of that, all of a sudden, no NBA player is standing there and sacrificing his body to get no call. No NBA player is going to plow through another guy's body to try and get a blocking foul. It's not going to happen. Just no call it, and as time goes by, the players are just going to stop getting in the way. They're going to say, go ahead and dunk the ball. Mm-hmm. But they sit there and say to themselves, all I got to do is keep my feet planted and stand in front of him when he jumps, and we get the foul called on him. We get the ball. I look like an amazing player. It's bull. It really is. If you can't tell how much it pisses me off, it's ridiculous.
I could tell. I like this. I like this side of you, David Hastings. I like it. You're getting into it, getting gritty. I like it.
Yeah, Pixel's making a great point. First quarter was arguably the first real first quarter of the finals that he's seen. It was back and forth for 12 straight minutes. Pixel, I'll even give them about the first 4 minutes of the third quarter before things started getting really just like very lethargic and one-sided. OKC came out strong. Miami responded. It looked like it was going to be a blast of a game, and it really was. If you can ignore the BS, it was a really fun game to watch. But there was enough aggravation that I can't be completely happy that I got to watch the game.